Here is part 1, 500 words of the faceless video script based on your outline. Section 1, London. Love and Lies in the Air 500 words faceless video script infidelity story. Narration begins in the quiet heart of Notting Hill, nestled between pastel storefronts and cobbled streets. Lives William Thacker, a man of routine, solitude, and soft-spoken charm. He runs a modest travel bookshop, one foot firmly planted in the ordinary. His life is uneventful, predictable, safe. And then she walks in, Anna Scott, the most famous actress in the world. Her face is everywhere, magazine covers, movie posters, dreams. She enters his shop not as a superstar, but as a woman in search of a book, an accident with orange juice later. And their lives begin to blur together in ways neither expects. But from the very first spark, something is off. Beneath the awkward smiles and British politeness, there's a quiet omission, a truth that Anna withholds. And Will, in his wonderstruck days, never asks. On-screen text, sometimes betrayal doesn't need lies. Only silence. They fall into a rhythm, stolen dinners. Gentle touches, secret smiles. He sees her not as the world sees her, but as someone real, someone human. And that, perhaps, is what draws her in. Anna doesn't have to perform around Will. For once, she's not Anna Scott. She's just a girl in his kitchen, barefoot, sipping tea, but it's in these tender moments that infidelity quietly takes root. Anna isn't alone in her life. She has someone else, a boyfriend, Jeff King. Loud, possessive, entitled. A shadow Anna never brings into the light. To Will, she gives her affection freely, but not the truth. And Will, he's too enchanted to notice. Or maybe he does notice and chooses not to look too closely. Greater than visual suggestion. Empty teacups, a crumpled newspaper, her sunglasses left behind. Metaphors of fleeting presence. Infidelity isn't always loud, doesn't always come with lipstick stains or hotel room keys. Sometimes it's quiet, an emotional affair born in whispers, grown from things unsaid. Anna hasn't physically cheated, not yet. But her heart is leaning away from one man and toward another, and Will, unknowingly, becomes the other man. But the heart is rarely innocent. Anna is drawn to Will because he doesn't belong to her world. He doesn't want the fame, the lights, or the cameras. It's just her. And so she stays a few days, few nights. She takes from him something fragile, trust. Even when she isn't ready to give hers in return. Greater than on-screen quote. It wasn't the kiss that broke him. It was the lie that followed it. By the time the truth creeps in, the damage has already been done. Not with anger, not with betrayal shouted across a room, but with quiet disappointment. With a heavy pause between two people who were supposed to be honest, and so begins a story not just about love, but about the invisible cracks beneath it. End of section 1. Would you like me to continue with section 2 next? Here is part 2, 500 words of the faceless video script. Section 2. When truth cracks the fantasy. 500 words faceless video script infidelity themed romantic story. Narration begins. Every love story has its turning point. A moment when fantasy collides with reality. For Will and Anna, that moment arrives not with shouting, but with a knock on the door. He opens it, and there stands Jeff King, Anna's boyfriend. Loud, American, uninvited. The illusion shatters in seconds. Will, once the quiet center of Anna's private world, realizes he was never alone in it. He was never the only one. Greater than on-screen text, betrayal doesn't always mean someone leaves you. Sometimes it means they never truly arrived. Will doesn't explode. He doesn't accuse. He retreats, not just from Anna, but from an entire idea of her. Because what hurts most isn't that she was with someone else. It's that she didn't tell him. He wasn't given the dignity of the truth. Anna had shared her laughter, her body, her fears, but not her full story. That omission becomes her greatest betrayal. Visual suggestion, a door slowly closing. A newspaper headline about Anna and Jeff Will walking through a rain-soaked street alone. Infidelity isn't always about crossing a physical line. Sometimes it's about crossing emotional boundaries, letting someone in while still tethered to someone else. Anna used Will as a safe place, a refuge, but not as a partner. She hid behind his kindness, and Will. He wasn't blameless either. He fell in love with the version of Anna she showed him, not the full truth. He believed in the edited version, the one without complication, without another man. Greater than on-screen quote. She kissed him like he was her only one, but someone else had the keys to her apartment. In that moment, the romantic comedy slips into something more real, something more painful. Will is heartbroken not because of Jeff, but because of what Anna chose to hide. In love, silence is not always soft. Sometimes it's cruel. Anna tries to explain. She says it was complicated, that her relationship with Jeff was already ending, that it didn't mean anything. But words like "it didn't mean anything" only ever make it worse, because to Will it meant everything. Visual suggestion, Will shelving books in silence, an unopened letter, an old photo frame turned face down. The distance grows. Days pass. Anna returns to her glamorous world, and Will is left in the quiet wreckage of his own. The bookstore feels colder now, the streets more unfamiliar. He sees her face everywhere, posters, billboards, movies, but not where it matters. Infidelity doesn't always end a relationship with a scream. Sometimes it ends it with a whisper. And what they had fades quietly. Greater than on-screen quote. It wasn't the other man that broke them. It was the lie she let grow between them. But even in this heartbreak, question lingers. Can love that was born in deception still survive in truth? It's the answer. Won't come easy, but it's coming. End of section 2. Would you like me to continue with section 3? The press conference scene. Here is part 3, 500 words of your faceless video script. Section 3, 1 question. Indefinitely yours, 500 words faceless video script infidelity-themed romantic story. Narration begins. Some love stories don't end with heartbreak. They pause in it. Months pass. Will moves forward, or at least tries to. The pain has quieted, but not disappeared. He smiles through it, distracted by small tasks and friendly faces. But inside, he still remembers her, Anna, the one who left and left him with more questions. Then answers. Then one morning she returns. No cameras, no handlers, no script. Just Anna. At his door again, she stands before him, uncertain and open. She tells him she's back in London for a film, that she's come to say she's sorry. She wants to be with him, for real, not in secret. Not as a refuge, but as a choice. And Will says no. On-screen quote, forgiveness is not a given, especially when trust was never mutual. His rejection isn't cruel. It's quiet, honest. It comes not from anger, but from self-preservation. He has learned what it means to fall for someone who's only halfway in. And he's not willing to live in the half-shadows anymore. But Anna doesn't leave right away. She stays in the city, vulnerable for once. No headlines. No staged romance. Just waiting, hoping, and then the press conference. She's promoting her latest film. The room is filled with reporters, cameras flashing like lightning. Questions fly about her role, her co-stars, her fame. She answers politely, distantly. Until one question breaks through. It's Will. He's in the back, disguised as just another journalist. He asks, "How long do you plan to stay in England?" On-screen quote, indefinitely. The room stills. That one word. Indefinitely says everything she didn't before, in front of flashing lights and 1,000 watching eyes. Anna does what she couldn't do in private, tell the truth. She doesn't beg, she doesn't cry. She just lets the truth sit between them, that she wants him. that she's no longer hiding. Greater than. Visual suggestion. Flashbulbs flickering. Her gaze softening. Will's breath catching. Emotional piano swelling. Infidelity. In all its forms, leaves scars. But redemption begins when ego dies and truth is allowed to breathe. Anna shows him not just with words, but with risk, with vulnerability, with honesty in a room built on pretense and will. He chooses again, but this time he does so with full knowledge of who she is, her flaws, her secrets, her past mistakes. It isn't fantasy anymore. It's something deeper. On-screen quote, "She once asked for shelter and gave him a storm. This time, she offered her whole self. No hiding." The press conference isn't just a turning point in the film, it's a metaphor for all. Relationships that begin with brokenness and try to rebuild from the rubble. She said she was just a girl, standing in front of a boy. But now she stands before the world, and this time, he chooses her back. End of section 3. Would you like to continue with part 4, the resolution and closure? Here is part 4, 500 words of your faceless video script. Section 4, forgiveness, fame. And forever 500 words faceless video script infidelity themed romantic story. Narration begins. It ends where all love stories should not. With fireworks, but with peace. After the press conference, Anna and Will find each other again. But this time, it's different. There's no more pretending. No more borrowed time. The masks are off. And what's left is something neither of them expected. Clarity. Anna no longer runs. Will no longer wonders. They've both seen each other. At their worst, in disappointment, in distance, in doubt. And yet, they still choose one another. Greater than. On-screen quote, "True love isn't choosing someone at their best. It's staying when you've seen the cracks and loving them anyway." There are no grand declarations, no extravagant gestures. It's just a man and a woman sitting on a park bench, her head resting gently on his lap. He reads. She listens. The world fades around them. For the first time, their love isn't built on hiding. It's built on healing. Time passes. Will's life is no longer defined by the small bookshop alone. Anna's world isn't consumed by red carpets or camera crews. Instead, they build something real, a life without secrets. She's still a movie star. He's still the man behind the counter. But the space between them has disappeared because they've done the hardest thing that people in love can do. They've forgiven. Greater than. Visual suggestion. Time lapse of seasons changing. A garden blooming. A slow shot of Anna's hand on her stomach. She's pregnant. And that's what makes this ending so powerful. It isn't perfect. It's earned so many romantic comedies end with a kiss, a laugh, a last-minute airport dash. But Notting Hill ends with something deeper. The idea that love can begin even after it breaks. That forgiveness is a choice we make when the person we love finally shows us all of themselves. The infidelity between them was not just emotional. It was foundational. Anna had lied by omission. Will had fallen for fantasy. But they did the one thing most couples never get the chance to do. They returned to each other with nothing to hide. On screen, quote, "Infidelity broke them. Honesty rebuilt them, and love, real love, kept them there." In the final shot, we see Will and Anna again on that bench. Time has softened them. There's laughter, a growing family, and above all, a calm certainty. Not the frantic high of new love, but the steady warmth of something that's been tested and survived. Their story reminds us that love is not about perfection. It's about courage. It's the courage to be seen, the courage to tell the truth, and the courage to come back even after everything has gone wrong. Greater than. Visual suggestion. Final fade to black. Sound of a heartbeat. On-screen text indefinitely. Because sometimes forever begins right after we say goodbye. End of part 4. Full script complete. 2,000 words. Would you like this entire script formatted into a video-ready script document with timestamps, visuals, narration cues?